In this video, we're going to explore the artistic marriage between the British band Radiohead and the Netflix TV series Ozark. Where do the two meet and why? And will we hear any more Radiohead in part 2 of season 4? And what about Radiohead's side project, Smile? Is there anything new there? Welcome to the Radioactive Patient, a music, art, and mental health mashup. I'm Allison Strong, your host. For the uninitiated, Radiohead is a British band that came to prominence in the early 90s with a hit single called Creep. Creep was on the grungy side, so it received a lot of airplay at alternative rock radio stations and also achieved some top 40 crossover success. Radiohead is a band that's always experimenting with new soundscapes and trying new instruments. They do their own thing, and it's a good thing they do because their people, i.e. their record labels, their managers, at times have really underestimated how much people loved their artistic and often atypical, asymmetric approach to making rock music. And then there's Ozark. I'll bet Ozark completely overperformed Netflix's expectations. Starring Jason Bateman, Laura Linney, and the inimitable Julia Garner, this show is just so dark you could only describe it as gallows humor. It's a phenomenon. It is huge. Because I got to play so much Radiohead when I was working in radio, I was really surprised at the end of episode 1 in season 1 when I recognized the instrumentation and just kind of watched and just let it unspool. It's a scene where Jason Bateman's character, Wendy Byrde, is at the end of his rope and he's mulling over a few very limited options. And after I saw this, I went on YouTube and I, poked around for Ozark Radiohead, and the song came up. It's a song called Deck's Dark, and it's off the 2016 Moonshaped Pool album. It's a really good song. I put it on my mixtapes because even though it's slow and moody and atmospheric, it has a pull, like an undertow to it, like Portishead or Tricky. And then a couple years later, I heard another Radiohead song. I wanted to just go look it up, but I was watching the show, so I was transfixed. And Wendy Byrde, the Jason Bateman character, his wife, Wendy Byrde, she's gone gangster. And she's doing some really inexplicable things. And the lyrics to The Daily Mail, which is the Radiohead song that's in episode 9, season 3, it provides a backdrop and gives some context to what Wendy is doing, especially the lyrics, "Throw you to the hounds." I'm sorry, I can't sing. So I got wondering, who is the big Radiohead fan on the show? Is it Bateman? I mean, Bateman is the executive producer, the star, and he sometimes directs the show, so maybe it's him. And I would Google it and nothing came up, except this week, this podcast that Jason Bateman came up. It's called Smartless, and I put the YouTube link to this episode where Johnny Greenwood and Thom Yorke from Radiohead were on the show. So yeah, go check that out in the About section. It's a really, really funny podcast. They get into talking about new music from Smile, their side project, and some of the music that they've contributed to the show Peaky Blinders. So you might want to check that out too. But what I really want to know is there going to be any more Radiohead in part 2 of season 4, the show's finale? I don't know. If there was going to be any, they would spring it on us, right? Like a big bloody surprise, because that's the way those guys are on that show. Jason Bateman, man, what a wicked sense of humor. Anyway, that's all I've got for this week's edition of the Radioactive Patient. If you heard anything you liked or got turned on to some music or some new ideas, please like, subscribe, and make comments, because when you make comments, it really grows this community. It does something. It's like puts the algorithm on steroids or something. I'm Allison Strong, your host, and until next time around, ciao for now.